Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the Chocolate Gold palette from Too Faced. I have to admit, I picked this up fully expecting that I would be returning it to Sephora. I thought I would pick it up, test it out, film a review, and then I probably would just be done with it. That's what I thought. Here's what the shadows look like on the inside. So you're getting 4 matte shades right along here, and then the rest are all foiled metallic shades. I have to say, when I first saw it, I thought, the hell is that? Like, the colors just don't really look all that cohesive. They don't look like they're gonna play well together. Friggin' Too Faced and their purple and pink obsession. I mean, they work their way into pretty much every palette that they put out. And I thought, yeah, okay, I get what you're going for with the gold and all that, but... So, imagine my surprise when I get it, start playing around with it, and love it. So this palette retails for $49 US or $59 Canadian. And you're getting 14 shadows in there. It is the same size and setup as the other chocolate bar palettes. So you have the regular Too Faced chocolate bar palette here. They are the same size and you're getting the same number of shadows as you do in the original. I have looked through the other chocolate bar-ish palettes. So I have obviously the original, I've got the Bonbons, and I've got the Sweet Peach palette. So I've looked through these to see if there were any dupes in here. Because sometimes Too Faced does that, particularly with their holiday releases. I find that there's a lot of crossover of shadows that they just sort of rename the same color. So I was on the hunt for that to see if that had happened with these shadows. So the closest ones I could find, I couldn't find anything in the Sweet Peach palette, so I'm just going to set it aside to free up some space. So the closest ones I could find were Holla for $1. It's like this olive green, and it's sort of like this one here in the original chocolate bar. I don't have the names of these. I've said it before. It came on like a little inlay when I bought this ages ago, and I don't have the names anymore. I could do a Google search, but I'm just not that thorough. So I'll show you what they look like, and I will do full swatches, but just let me get through this rambly bit first. So here they are here. This is the chocolate gold. This is from the chocolate bar. And I'll just swipe them on my... I need a bigger desk. Damn it. There we go. So I'll just swipe them here. So again, that's the chocolate gold. And that's the original chocolate bar. So you can see that there is some difference there between them. They're very similar in terms of the olive tone to them, but this one is far more metallic. This one has a stronger brown base to it with a little bit of like the olive color shimmered throughout it, whereas this one is just a straight up olive green. So I certainly would not call them dupes, although they are similar, they are not dupes of each other. And then looking at the Chocolate Bonbons palette, we've got that bright pink in there, and the one on top, Cafe au Lait, looks similar to another shadow that's in there as well. So I will swatch these, so Totally Fetch and Cafe au Lait. And then from this palette here, we have New Money and Rich Girl. And these are the two that look fairly similar. So these are from the Bonbons palette, and these are from the Chocolate Gold palette. So here is Totally Fetch. Here is whatever that other one was from the Chocolate Bonbons palette, and then here are the counterparts from the Chocolate Gold palette. So you can see these two definitely are not the same color. This is a lot brighter and more vibrant, pulls more purple. This is definitely more pink. And then up here, although they are similar in terms of color, this is far more metallic, like blows this one out of the water. So definitely no dupes that I can see between any of these palettes. I don't have the semi-sweet, but from what I recall of looking at that one, nothing immediately comes to mind either.
I also compared the purples, and although they show up in every palette, they are all different. The one in the chocolate gold, though, by far the best.
By comparison to the other three, that it is far more metallic. And that's really the claim to fame with this palette, is that The metallic foiled shadows are infused with real gold, which is supposed to make them that much more metallic and foiled, that much more shiny, I suppose. I don't really know about the whole like real gold thing. Possibly. I'm sure it's a minuscule amount, or else this palette would be a gajillion dollars. And it has that classic chocolate smell as well that the others do, minus the sweet peach, which smells like some peach I've never smelled. So in terms of the shade selections that they put in here, I really appreciate the mattes that they have included because they are so versatile with the rest of the palette. So you have a cream, which really does have quite a bit of pigmentation to it, and you'll see that in the demo of how I did my eye look today. And then there is a nice transition blending shade, a warmer brown, and then a matte black. So these are all very useful and usable shadows, and I really appreciate that they have used those intelligent choices for the rest of the palette. In terms of the shimmers, you've got like a true gold here, a nice yellow gold. You've got that oval? No. You've got an olivey colored green, a deep emerald green, you've got your purple pinks, you've got a bright silver, and then some more champagne-y colors, and then some bronzes across the middle here. In my opinion, I think that this would have worked well as one of their classic 9-pan palettes rather than stretching it out to 14. There are some that do look quite similar. Love and Cocoa and Classy and Sassy are really just slight variations of each other. Just slightly darker version, like this is just obviously a little bit darker than this one, but they are still very similar in tone. So I think you could have done without one of those. And then, I mean, I get what they're going with all the golds. I think the silver is kind of misplaced in here because this is a chocolate gold palette. So, I mean, as beautiful as it is, I think they could have done without it. I think if it was up to me and I was designing one of their classic 9 pans where there's the 3 large pans on the side and then 6 smaller shadows on the other side, I think I would have put probably the cream and the transition shade as a large, and I probably would have gone for the brown, but knowing that they were trying to sell a chocolate gold palette, I suspect that this would be an appropriate one for a large one, the yellow gold. And then in terms of the complementary shades, I would include the black. So I would keep all the mattes that are in here. I would keep chocolate gold. So where does that take me to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'd have 4 more to go with. I would go with, where are we here? So Classy and Sassy, Famous, Rich Girl, and Gold Dipped over here, whereas I would switch out probably the Classy one for the green over here, which is Moneybags. Let's do some swatches. For my swatches, I'm using finger, unprimed arm. That's how we're going to roll with this. I don't know how people do like the well-lit, beautiful swatches that they do. I would love to see a video on how to set that up. But for me, it would be an absolute living nightmare to try to do that with the amount of crap that's on this desk in front of me. So fingers on the arm is where we're at. And you can tell from there whether you like these colors or not. Before we get into that, I will say I have been playing around with this palette. I've used not all of the shades, but a good selection of them. And what I can say is definitely apply the metallic shades with a setting spray. So pick it up on your brush, spritz it with the setting spray, and then go in from there. I have found that when I don't use the setting spray, they really do fade by the end of the day, and a lot of it has worn off. So that would be my word of advice for you in terms of how to apply them. They will apply beautifully with a finger or with a brush. I use a short shader brush, and you'll see that in the demo as well. But I've got some great looks out of this palette, and surprisingly enough, because I don't tend to reach for gold shadows, like that's not the color family that I really gravitate towards, but I have really liked it. I did wear this one here, Chocolate Gold, in my Marc Jacobs lipstick review, which I will link down below. Just looking at analytics, nobody ever clicks on the eyes. I never click on the eyes when I'm watching videos because I want to watch the video that I'm watching rather than get taken somewhere else. So I'll just link it down below if you want to see the eyeshadow look at any rate. But it it's beautiful. Like, it's vibrant, it's full pigment. I really, really like it. And I really like how these shadows apply. This is a palette that I can see myself just reaching for over and over again. And yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, having said all that, let's get into the swatches. So I think I said you get 14 shadows in this palette. You don't. You get 16. Even better. So starting from here, we have Moneybags, Chocolate Gold, Rich Girl, Love and Cocoa, Old Money, New Money, Famous, Classy and Sassy, Halafa Dalla, Gold Dipped, Livin' Lavish, Drippin' Diamonds, and then we go into the matte shadows here, Rollin' in Dough, Cocoa Truffle, nope, Rollin' in Dough, So Bougie, Cocoa Truffle, and Decadent. And again, for all of these, those are finger swatches, one swipe down, no rubbing back and forth, and no primer. So pretty. So the last point that I will make on this palette is that the shadows, if applied with setting spray, as I was saying earlier, they do last very well all day. I'm going to zoom it in and show you my eyes. This shadow has been on for about 7 hours now, and there's no creasing. There's a little bit of transfer that happens with me with shadows. That's just the way that my eyes are, because they are slightly hooded. That just happens no matter what the shadow is, but just 1 second. So here's the eyeshadow here, 7 hours after application. Actually probably closer to 8 hours now, to be honest. And it hasn't creased up in my creases. Like I said, there's a tiny bit of transfer, but nothing alarming, nothing upsetting. And you can still see, like, here's purple, here's sort of a champagne-y color. They're beautiful. They really are. So I've said a few times that I was very surprised with how much I liked this palette. I was surprised with how well it performed. I feel like sometimes Too Faced launches are kind of hit and miss. This is definitely a hit for me. Let's just get into the eye tutorial, demo, whatever you want to call it. And just know that I do recommend this palette. I really do. I personally love foiled shadows. I think they're very versatile. I think they're very easy to wear, and they're great for a one and done, easy eye look, although they look intimidating in the pan. I prefer them over mattes. So again, a bit of personal preference is going to come into play here. If you don't like foiled shadows, then obviously give this one a pass. But if you do, these ones perform really well. While there's not a variety of shade selections, what they have chose really actually does work well together. I mean, gold and green play off each other very beautifully. The purple with the more champagne-y colors, that's what I've paired up today. I really like that look. The only one that makes me kind of scratch my head is the pink, but I can get past that, and I'm sure there are looks that I can come up with that. But for today, you're getting a purple and champagne eye look, so enjoy. There you have it.
As always, I'm starting with the Soft Ochre Paint Pot from MAC and just blending it in with my finger. I was surprised at how pigmented this cream eyeshadow was. It's quite impressive, really. Something I didn't mention in the review is that the mattes do blend out absolutely beautifully. There's no patchiness. You don't really have to work that hard to build them up. They are just really good shadows. This isn't the most unique shade in the bunch, but my God, it's beautiful. I found that the shadows actually blended fairly easily. Sometimes metallic shadows don't play well with each other. I have that issue with ColourPop, but I didn't really experience it with these at all. I didn't pick up any product. The brush is just dirty because that's how I roll. Sorry. For future tutorials, let me know. Do you want me to say the shade names, put them up on the screen, just point to them as I do? What is most helpful for you guys? Let me know. The one negative to the packaging is that gold splotch you see makes it impossible to stack stuff on top of this palette. I think this is the most pigmented black I have seen from Too Faced. Ugh, I bought a lighter shade than normal for hair dye because it was on sale, and I regret that decision. In editing this, I've come to the conclusion that I spent more time on the lower lash line than I did on the actual lid itself. The dynamic duo.
And that wraps up my review of the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now, guys.